Okay, we are back in session. Can you read us out of?
Yes, sir. So the first one I'm reading back in has to do with the boards and commissions. So I move that this council certify by a recorded vote that to the best of each council member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed session. And the second one, which occurred concurrently, which had to do with the real estate, I move that this council certify by a recorded vote that to the best of each council member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed session.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, can we vote? Okay, the motion passes. We actually will be going back into closed session after the regular meeting. We weren't able to finish all of our business because our 4:30 meeting ran a little bit long. So we're now going to have a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you very much. Are there any announcements?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to say a word about TomTom. I don't know if you can do this now or later.
Now would be
Okay.
good. Mhm.
Just wanted to thank the TomTom Foundation and all the people that worked, including Mr. Paul Byer, to put these events on in our community. I think we're really blessed and fortunate to have that. I wanted to just, a couple of, if you look on their recap page, 170 events and performances, 70 plus artists and performers, 240 plus speakers and presenters, almost 26,000 festival attendees, 120 partnering organizations. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank TomTom and Paul and all the good work that they did. I had a chance to go to a couple of sessions. I went to one on re-entry, which I thought was really well done. And again, grateful for their work in our community.
Thank you. Yes, it was a wonderful event. It was gathered a lot of people in the community together. The music was great. The weather was great. Anyway, I'm looking forward to next year's. So, any other announcements?
Yes, I've got one. We've got a note from Mr. Alex Zan that the 9th annual My Help List contest winners have been selected. The contest is a thinking, reading, writing activity for students in Charlottesville and the surrounding counties. They share their thoughts on the importance of helping others and list 5 things that they have or can do to help someone. This year's winners will be celebrated at a gathering at York Place on Thursday at 6:30 at the Seville Media Center, where they will get a cash prize, and they are Carolina Meyer, who is a 2nd grader at Jackson Villa, Teresa Parker, a 4th grader at Mountain View, Ruth Butler, a 6th grader at Walker, and Samaria Dooms, an 11th grader who's homeschooled.
Great. Thank you so much. Are there other? I think that was it for announcements. We have several recognitions and actually 5 proclamations tonight, and I'm going to do the first one is Older American Month. And Marta, you can, as I'm reading this, you can start working your way down. And Older American Month is May 2024, whereas May is recognized as Older American Month, a time for us to recognize and honor older Americans in the city of Charlottesville and their immense influence on every facet of the community, and where Charlottesville recognizes how through their wealth of life experiences and wisdom, older adults guide our younger generations and carry forward abundant cultural and historical knowledge. And whereas the theme of Older American Month is powered by connection, recognizing the profound impact and meaningful relationships and social connections have on our health and well-being, and the vital role that connectedness plays in supporting independence and aging in place by combating isolation, loneliness, and other issues. And now, therefore, The City of Charlottesville hereby proclaim May 2024 to be Older American Month. We urge every resident to celebrate their older citizens and to recognize the profound impact of meaningful interactions and social connections on well-being of health and wealth of older Americans in our community. Signed May 6, 2024 by Juan Diego Ricardo Wade, Mayor.
Just want to thank City Council and all the staff of Charlottesville. I think this theme is really exemplified by Charlottesville's commitment to their seniors by their support for JABA, but also the support for affordable housing for seniors, for tax relief so people can age in the community, and the support of the Charlottesville Area Alliance that works with 30 different agencies to create an age-friendly community. So we appreciate that.
Thank you so much for your work, and I just note that I serve on JABA board with Martha and a whole host of other community volunteers, so thank you so much for your important work, Martha. The next proclamation is Salvation Army Week. Mr. Payne?
Yes, and likewise, anyone here to accept it, feel free to come up. But whereas the Salvation Army Week is an opportunity to recognize the Salvation Army and its many volunteers and staff, both internationally and locally, for their continued dedication of offering others a helping hand, and whereas the Salvation Army is a non-government provider of direct social services, meeting physical and spiritual needs of millions of people worldwide, and whereas the Salvation Army assists thousands of individuals and families in the greater Charlottesville community without discrimination by providing food, clothing, emergency shelter, financial assistance, hope and guidance, as well as many additional programs and services. And whereas the Salvation Army is grateful for and relies upon the support of the greater Charlottesville citizens in its mission of doing the most good, including but not limited to the following contributions to the community in 2023. 4,677 people assisted, 49,265 meals provided, 18,278 nights lodging, 1,700 clothing items, 482 furnitures given, 577 energy assisted, 913 hygiene items, 6,829 volunteer hours, and 1,515 volunteers. Now therefore, the Charlottesville City Council is pleased to recognize the week of May 13th through 19th, 2024 as a Salvation Army Week in Charlottesville, Virginia.
The Salvation Army has been serving in Charlottesville since 1912. It was in 1954 that President Dwight D. Eisenhower first proclaimed the national, this coming week as National Salvation Army Week. The stats that you read are our annual stats from last year, typically giving out 50,000 meals annually to individuals in our community. About 3 weeks ago, my team came to me and said that they had served over 1,000 meals that week, and then they came back and said that they had served almost 1,200 meals the week after that. And so need continues to increase in our community, and we appreciate the support of Charlottesville and its citizens for our service here in the community. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Our church look forward to our time when we can come there and prepare meals. So thank you for your service that you serve in the community. The next one is National Police and Peace Officers Memorial Day.
Yes, I have this proclamation, National Police Week, May 12th through 20th, 2024, and National Peace Officers Memorial Day, May 15th, 2024. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated the week in which May 15th occurs as National Police Week and May 15 as Peace Officers Memorial Day. And whereas the City of Charlottesville Police Department plays an essential role in safeguarding the constitutional rights and freedoms of all members of the community. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the hazards, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, protecting them against violence or disorder, and protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the names of dedicated police officers who have died in the line of duty are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., and whereas the men and women of the City of Charlottesville Police Department unceasingly provide this vital public service in a manner that builds trust. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Charlottesville, Virginia declares the week of May 12th to May 20, 2024 to be National Police Week in the City of Charlottesville, and May 15 to be Peace Officers Memorial Day. We call upon all community members to join in commemorating law enforcement officers past and present who, by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities, have rendered a dedicated service to the community and have established an enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all community members. Be it therefore proclaimed that we observe May 15 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of duty. And let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. Signed and sealed the 6th day of May 2024 by our Mayor Juan Diego Ricardo Wade. Sir, appreciate it. Thank you.
Mayor, councilors, I thank you for this proclamation. You know, every day our police officers across this country, they put on their uniforms and they face the unknown. They confront danger head on, often risking their own lives to protect others. I saw this about a week ago when a person who was in crisis ran at one of our officers with a knife and was ultimately able to be taken into custody without the use of deadly force. These officers work tirelessly around the clock to uphold the laws and keep our society functioning. Our officers are guided by a sense of duty and a belief in justice that transcends politics and personal opinions. But being a police officer in the midst of political turmoil is not easy. They are often caught in the crossfire of conflicting ideologies and criticized from all sides. And yet they continue to serve with integrity and honor. They are the embodiment of resilience, facing each day with courage and determination. But their job is not just about enforcing the law. It's also about compassion and empathy. Police officers are often the first to respond in times of crisis, providing comfort and support to those in need. Like this past Christmas, when 2 of our officers had to provide CPR to a 3-year-old under a Christmas tree on Christmas morning. They are the pillars of strength in our communities and continue to be the call of choice when our members of our community are in crisis. We must also remember the families of those brave men and women. They too make sacrifices, supporting their loved ones in their noble calling, often enduring long periods of separation and worry. As we honor the memory of those officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice, let us please also show our appreciation for those who continue to serve. Let us thank them for their dedication, their bravery, and their unwavering commitment to the law and the safety of our community. To all the police officers that are here today, and to members of our community action team that are here today, I say thank you. Thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your commitment to keeping our community safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And now I get to read one of my favorites, the 55th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, for our favorite clerk. Whereas the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world and is the oldest profession among public servants. And whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing body, city departments, and agencies of government at other levels, serving as an information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, recording that which is true, and subscribing to a professional and personal code of ethics. And whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in professional certification programs, education seminars, workshops, in the annual meetings of their state, regional, and international professional organizations. And whereas a few of the responsibilities of the local municipal clerk include being the official keeper of the city seal, recording and certifying official actions of the governing body, managing the city council meeting agenda process and attending city council meetings, managing the boards and commissions, appointment process, and serving as liaison for the Sister Cities Commission. And whereas Keena Thomas, Master Municipal Clerk, serves as Chief of Staff, Clerk of Council, and Maxilia Robinson serves as Deputy Clerk of Council. Now, therefore, the Charlottesville City Council recognizes the week of May 5th through May 11th as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extends appreciation to our professional municipal clerk and her staff for their exemplary dedication to the services they provide to the public, to the city organization, and to the governing body. Signed and sealed the 6th day of May 2024, Juan Diego Wade, Mayor.
Thank you. This is one time I will step away from my chair. But the municipal clerk role is not something that a little child dreams of being one day, because most people don't even know that it exists. So throughout years of training in the administrative field and other jobs, it just so happened that the position came open in my former locality, and I kind of fell in love with the work. So I continued to be dedicated to earning certifications and moving forward and just seeing what I could make of the role. So it has been very enjoyable. And tonight is really not about me. I want to acknowledge my deputy. This year has been a heavy lift as far as her role with boards and commissions and the Sister Cities Commission in particular. We have had 3 delegation visits from our sister cities and our friendship city. The first one was Winneba. We had a delegation from Winneba, Ghana come last summer. We have a friendship city that we're working on, Huehuetenango, Guatemala. So we had a delegation come from there, and we toured with them, took them all over to different locations locally. And then the most recent is Besançon, France. So those delegation visits would not have run as smoothly had it not been for Maxilia Robinson.
Yeah, I would like you to pitch
Max.
both of yours.
She has been very diligent in working with the Sister Cities Commission and being available to answer questions, being steadfast in understanding protocol, rules, and helping them to also understand. So I just want to publicly thank you and present this to you.
Well, I just would like to thank you all as well. We couldn't function without you all. It's probably today, I probably emailed and called you at least a dozen times before the meeting, so we depend on you all. So thank you all so much. We have a lot of work to do, a lot of organizations to be part of, and a lot of things to do, and we just could not do it without you all. So thank you so much. So thank you. We have one more proclamation. So.
All right. As I announced last meeting, this is Bike Month, but now we're making it official with a proclamation. Whereas bicycling is a healthy, clean, efficient, and affordable mode of transportation and recreation used by thousands of citizens and residents of all ages throughout our great Commonwealth and city. And whereas traveling by bicycle has been proven to alleviate traffic congestion and reduced pollution associated with vehicular travel and offer significant mental and physical health benefits to bicyclists themselves. And whereas the City of Charlottesville has undertaken ambitious goals to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and is committed to providing more multimodal transportation options for all residents, and whereas Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and the University of Virginia, alongside a large cohort of businesses, agencies, and community groups, are hosting many bicycle events that promote awareness, safety, new travel options, as well as building community, and whereas these groups and many others are also promoting the use of the bicycle as a means of both of transportation and recreation year-round to improve community health, economic vitality, environmental stewardship, and the simple joy of being active outdoors. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Charlottesville City Council recognizes the month of May 2024 as Bike Month in the City of Charlottesville, encouraging all who support bicycling to participate in the events planned and urging all road users to share the road safely.
Do we have someone here?
Peter, are you taking this?
Yeah.
Thanks, Natalie.
Oh,
Reveal.
okay.
So thank you so much. And I hesitated to come up because this proclamation actually belongs to the residents of Charlottesville. So I'm going to pass it on to James when I'm done, and he'll make sure it goes into the right place. You mentioned a large cohort of organizations who put this year's Bike Month together. That starting first and foremost with the City of Charlottesville and its many residents, but also we were joined this year with astonishingly many events at both the University of Virginia and in Albemarle County. They both have been very active, as well as many organizations, groups, and individuals. I wanted to call attention to a couple of events that people can participate in this month. This coming Wednesday is Bike to School Day. It is a longer name than that. It's like Bike, Roll, and Walk to School Day on Wednesday. So all the elementary schools will have an event. I'll be at Clark. Super excited about that. Next week is Bike to Work Week. There'll be a event at UVA Hospital on Monday of next week, and then on the Friday of next week, there'll be a celebration, encouragement, and snack station on West Main Street. There are e-bike and safety demonstrations throughout the month. In fact, the county just had one tonight that got postponed due to lightning, so hopefully that'll get rescheduled. There's a Bike Month Business Challenge where all the businesses in the region can compete for bragging rights. And all of this is listed out on the website, bikemonthcville.org. Hope to see you out there, and remember, be safe and courteous on the roads.
Thank you. So now we're at Community Matters. There are 2 pre-registered speakers, leaving 14 slots for additional speakers on Community Matters. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to speak. We'll now open the floor to the pre-registered speakers. The first speaker is Lisa Costello. Yes, either one.
I was coming down to talk about David Yancey. He was a Charlottesville resident and a World War II veteran. He is interred at the Oakwood Cemetery, but his grave marker is down at Hartman's on East Market Street. He passed in 1974. So in July, it will be 50 years. And we haven't been able to find a next of kin. But his marker is down there. The city of Charlottesville did go through the Oakwood and take a picture of it, of his, where he's buried. But we haven't been able to find any of his next of kin. I called Hartman Memorials about getting the stone moved back. They said the government paid for his stone because he was a World War II veteran, but they didn't pay for it to be installed. And so basically his grave marker has been at Hartman Memorials on East Market Street for the last 50 years. I mean, come July. So anyway, I guess I was interested, I don't know if anybody, I don't know if the city or anybody within earshot can have any say-so, or I was thinking of taking up a donation. They said we could have the grave marker back, but they will have to install it. So I just wanted to know if there was any kind of family or something like that.
Yeah, well, hopefully this will kind of get out, you know, maybe someone may know someone from it, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and Mr., for his service. What was his name?
Yancey.
Yancey. The next speaker is M. Gunter.
Hello, counselors. My name is M. Gunter, and I live off Jefferson Park Avenue here in Charlottesville. I'm also an anthropology student at the University of Virginia, where on Saturday I watched riot police from the university, Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Virginia State Police descend on my university, where my peers and I have been peacefully protesting Israel's ongoing genocide of Palestine since last Tuesday afternoon. Why did University President Jim Ryan feel the need to authorize the Virginia State Police to beat my classmates and professors, you may ask? Tents. It is because of less than a dozen tents that the University of Virginia decided to allow a multi-agency riot squad to assault my classmates. Where was this multi-agency riot squad when neo-Nazis marched the lawn in 2017? Why was riot police deemed the appropriate response to a policy violation that could have been resolved through other means? Since Saturday, there has been near universal outcry from the UVA community and others across the globe. In his letter of resignation from UVA's Religion, Diversity, and Belonging Task Force, Professor Ogunake borrows on the words of Dr. King's letter from Birmingham jail. Our greatest stumbling block is the moderate administrator who is more devoted to order than justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. After the first wave of students were beaten and arrested, I walked between the line of riot police and students, documenting the conduct of the officers who were beating my friends. While walking up and down the line of riot police holding chemical weapons canisters and long guns, I asked officers to disclose their names and badge numbers, as their riot gear obfuscated such information. All officers refused to answer this question. I call on the City Council to immediately open an investigation into the conduct of the Charlottesville City police officers who refused to disclose their names or badge numbers. On Saturday night, the university's decision to allow riot cops to beat its student was on the front page of nearly every national news source, just like numerous other college campuses these last 3 weeks. In these past 3 weeks, the media has been focusing on ruckus on college campuses, calling us anti-war protesters or pro-Palestinian protesters, ignoring the fact that we are anti-genocide protesters. I have barely been able to move due to severe pain resulting from Saturday's assault on grounds, but it is not about me. It is about the people of Gaza. A week ago, a mass grave with over 390 people was discovered at a hospital, including patients that still had catheters in them, doctors and children who had been buried alive, and doctors and patients beaten to death. The media is ignoring this while the United States continues to fund Israel's genocide of Palestine, unabated. As I speak here, Israel has begun invading Rafah, where over 1.5 million people are at risk of indiscriminate massacre. I conclude, demanding that the City Council explain why Charlottesville Police Department officers made the majority of Saturday's arrests, despite the fact that the University of Virginia grounds falls within the county's jurisdiction. Why was Charlottesville Police Department so hands-on in the use of mace and rubber bullets as part of the violent assault on UVA students, faculty, and staff? Thank you.
Thank you. We have opportunity for 14 other speakers. Would anyone else like to speak? Yes.
Good evening, Council. I'm James Groves, a city resident. You know me from past speaking activities. I'm here on a little bit different issue, and certainly nothing quite as significant as what we just heard about. But it's an issue that you heard about earlier at your work session, and I want to talk for a couple minutes about, I think, a closely related issue. My concern that I just kind of on the spur of the moment decided to come down and talk to you about tonight is in regards to engineering activities in the operations of the city of Charlottesville. As I found out from Sean Tubbs yesterday in a news drop, and as you heard, I guess, in your work session earlier, VDOT has found the city deficient at building projects. in this community. I haven't had a chance to listen to that work session. I'll go back and do that, so hopefully none of my comments are already out of date. And I'm certainly concerned about those projects. There are a number of those ongoing in my community that seem to drag on forever. The light at the corner of Rugby Avenue, Rose Hill being an example. But I'm also concerned about the engineering workforce, specifically the engineering workforce in the city government. And I'm wondering why so many of the engineers or engineering-related staff members have left within the last year. The ones that I'm aware of are Andrea Henry, professional engineer, Water Resources Protection Administrator, who I believe left the city last June. Jack Dawson, city engineer, who left in January, February, I believe, of this year. Tony Edwards, floodplain administrator, who I believe now works for the county. And most recently, Hugh Blake, a long-term professional engineer who has worked for the city for many years. Now, I may not have my facts straight, and I absolutely would welcome correction on any of these if I have a misunderstanding about their departure. But my sense is that you had this presentation earlier this evening about projects, and they're important. But you're going to get projects done if you have a professional work staff, and I hope that you won't throw these 4 individuals and others under the proverbial bus and say the reason the projects haven't gotten done is because these type of people and we've cleared house. I certainly don't know these people, these individuals that I named in great depth, but I do know a couple of them, and I've reviewed their work in great detail. And I know them to be highly professional. Andrea Henry is one whose work I've looked at extensively. And I should mention, as you may remember, I'm a licensed professional engineer involved in engineering at the university and also in the community. She does excellent work, things that I've reviewed. I've reviewed the work of Hugh Blake extensively as well. Excellent engineering work. And so, for instance, Councilor Oshrin is interested in bike infrastructure, as I am, and a number of those in the room. We won't get that infrastructure built if you don't have the workforce, including the engineering workforce, to get it done. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Would anyone else done?
Good evening, Don Gather, city resident. I too am very much concerned and disturbed about the goings on from this past Saturday. It was 54 years to the day, 54 years, when the massacre at Kent State happened. Thank God we didn't have anything to occur to that particular level here, but it certainly bathed the possibility of it happening. And it only could happen with the blessings of either President Jim Ryan or the Board of Visitors or Governor Youngkin. And it's bothersome and painful to think that the opportunity for free speech ceases to exist and live on Mr. Jefferson's hallowed halls of hell. We need to do better, and I urge and encourage each and every one of you to use whatever influence that you may have to ask that those charges be dropped against those students and those professors and those community people who are your citizens that were arrested so unnecessarily on Saturday evening. It was, it looked exactly like some of the issues from the summer of hell of 2017 and what the community went through. It's never a good idea to militarize the state police and bring them in. It just brings further trauma to already traumatized community. So I encourage you and I urge you, whoever you need to talk to, whether it's Commonwealth's Attorney Jim Hensley, whoever you can approach and ask that those charges be dropped, please use whatever influence that you may have. We don't need to continue to go through these things. I said several weeks ago that war, regardless of the perpetrators and those involved, is wrong. So whatever the peaceful actions were that the students were portraying over there, they should have been left alone. There was an edict that came down from President Ryan saying that they were within their rights to do so. And 2 hours later, that was changed. And 30 minutes after that, the assault began. So I ask you, please stand with those students, those professors, those community members who were so unnecessarily handled on that day. 26 arrests, 25 of them were released. The 26 was released on this morning. So please, whether it's our Commonwealth's Attorney Joe Platania, whether it's any of you all, please, whatever influence that, or whose ever ear that you may have, please speak to them about this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else still like to?
Thank you. I'm also speaking regarding the protest. Now, my understanding is that the only actions that the Charlottesville City Police took on that day were to create the encirclement.
I'm sorry, can you give your name?
Oh, yes. My name is Mo Vandesample. I live at Cabell Avenue.
Okay.
Now, my understanding is that Charlottesville City Police only created the encirclement around the camp, and that everything, what I would call thuggish behavior was of the people in riot gear was entirely the state police, although I would appreciate being told whether or not that is the case, because it sounds like it was very unclear who was actually doing what. The main reason that I'm here today is because I expect that the city will be more transparent than the university will in being forthcoming with information. And the specific information that I'm here to request, and I think that you were specifically there, so I guess I'll point it at you, is who made the decision that state police was necessary? Did the university determine that? Was that Jim Ryan? Was that Timothy Longo? I think that a lot of people would really appreciate clarification on this matter. I don't know if Charlottesville Police made that decision. To me, it seems absurd that this level of violence was required for what was effectively a 20-person protest. So that's really, with the rest of the time, is there a statement on this?
No. Yeah, we
don't answer.
Yeah.
This is not like a
The
conversation.
city manager may.
I have
add
a
it-
report.
oh,
I'll
report.
include the information in my report.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry. So
Sorry,
you
yeah, I
finished.
would just generally appreciate a public statement from a city official on this matter. The other thing that I'd like to point out is that I thought that there was the one thing that I found very uncommendable from the Charlottesville City Police. At the time that I was there, I found that they did not do a very good job of separating the protesters from the counter-protesters, a problem which we also had in 2017. I thought that there were a lot of people being aggravating towards the protesters, and that could have resulted in violence, although thankfully I did not see any. But that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? It'll be another opportunity at the end of the meeting. Thank you. We'll now have the consent agenda. Ms. Thomas?
Consent agenda, number 3, minutes, February 5th, regular meeting, March 28th, budget development, April 4th, budget development. 4, resolution for revenue sharing program appropriation of $394,256 and a transfer of $394,256 for multimodal improvements, FY21, second reading. 5, resolution appropriating funding for the hydraulic road shared use path, $40,000, second reading. 6, resolution appropriating Dogwood Memorial Foundation State Grant Pass-Through Funding, $600,000, second reading. 7, resolution ratifying the meals and lodging tax rates for FY 2025. 8, resolution appropriating a grant of public funds for housing assistance to low and moderate income homeowners within the city of Charlottesville, $1,295,000, one of 2 readings.
Okay. May I get a second? Well, I'm sorry. Is there a motion to adopt? I'm sorry.
I move for adoption of the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further questions on this? If not, can we vote? The motion passes to adopt the consent agenda. We're now at the city manager's report.
Good evening, counselors and members of the public. Just a few quick things to run through. Just wanted to share that I was pleased to have the opportunity and the honor to speak as the keynote speaker to FAR's intern graduation on April 17th. It was a nice event, being able to talk to folks who are looking to engage further in their community. We also, a group of us, greeted representatives with the mayor from the National League of Cities who were here in the city on the 18th of April. They were beginning their 100 city tour in honor of the National League of Cities 100th anniversary. So they picked Charlottesville as one of those cities to swing by and present a framed piece of art to us and then to invite us to join them for their conference later this year. We had our quarterly neighborhood leaders meeting. That's a meeting that I facilitate with the heads of the neighborhood associations. That was held on the 18th of April. For anyone interested in some of the things that we discussed, the Q&A section of the report that we use, we provide an opportunity for these leaders to pose questions to the city staff. We put those answers in writing. That packet is attached to the city manager's report, so that is available for anyone to review to see the kinds of things that we're sharing information about. Also happy to report that we are bringing back Inside Charlottesville, our local community affairs program. It will air on Channel 10. I taped my first segment, which is called On the Spot. I was playing when I came up with that name, and now they stuck me with it. My intention is that I won't not only just say things to the larger community, but I might actually invite people to be on the spot with me. That's pretty much how it's supposed to work. And in addition to that, furthering our community engagement work, we are bringing back the city's community-wide newsletter. The communications team right now is collecting feedback. We're looking to hear from the public. What would you like to see, hear about, and or read? And if you were interested in sharing your thoughts, you can send an email to communications@charlottesville.gov. We'll be accepting that feedback through the 17th of May, and then the team will begin to work on what that newsletter will become, and then we will produce a schedule and get that out to the larger public. And the last item is in regards to Saturday's events. Our city, of course, had an experience that is one of those things that we regret whenever there's moments that puts any level of peace in jeopardy. But I just wanted to share a couple of things to clarify. As I monitored the situation myself, I was taken by a number of comments that were made that misdirect what role the Charlottesville Police Department played in the events on Saturday, so I wanted to clear that up. CPD responded to a request for mutual aid. That is a standing agreement between law enforcement agencies in this region. We respond to requests for support as we expect the full cooperation of those same entities if we were to ask them to come in our time of need. The role for the CPD on Saturday was to establish and maintain a perimeter. That is it. That is all that our officers did throughout the event. The assignments of personnel was within the purview of Incident Command at the university, so our officers did not play any role other than crowd control. That was their purpose on grounds, and that is what they did for the entire duration of the event. So I wanted to make that clear, as there were other things that have been attributed to what role they played. That is my report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I will just say briefly, I'm still concerned about what happened Saturday. I appreciate the clarity that Charlottesville Police Department's role was strictly to establish a perimeter, and it sounds like was not involved in arrests. But I would still say I'm concerned, the reporting in the Daily Progress, that the protest was peaceful, that it was peaceful when state riot police were initiated, that UVA, again, in Daily Progress reporting, changed their policy that morning to facilitate arrests in a way that appears was potentially not content neutral. And finally, again, from the report, just direct quote, police indiscriminately sprayed pepper spray into the crowd, at one point hitting a Daily Progress reporter and other members of the media covering the conflict. And I know several members with NBC 29 News were also pepper sprayed during that. So I know I'm appreciative of the clarity of CPD's role, but I'm still left wanting to know who called state police to that event. Was that coming from the state, Jim Ryan, the Board of Visitors? And I think it is appropriate to join with Delegate Katrina Carlson, State Senator Craig Deeds, as well as the university Democrats in wanting to have some more answers and clarity on what happened. So just wanted to state that for the record.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? We are now at the opportunity for the second community matters. Will anyone else like to speak? Peter?
Thank you. My name's Peter Krebs. I'm from the Piedmont Environmental Council. I'm living in the past a little bit. I thought consent agenda items were still before the consent agenda is read. I'm glad that you all passed it, so excellent. I just wanted to call the community's attention to a couple of things that were inside the consent agenda which are important. So one of the items is about VDOT's revenue sharing, which is a 50-50 split where the city and the state combine to pay for sidewalks and roads and stuff. And the projects in that package include a sidewalk on Monticello Avenue down by Druid. And I think it's worth pointing out that there's actually a monument to a pedestrian who was struck and killed on that segment. So thank you for getting a sidewalk in there. Right next door is another sidewalk project which will link that segment to the park at Quarry Park. And then the last item in that package is extending the bike lanes, which you can see coming into place on the Belmont Bridge further up Avon Street. So those are all three excellent projects. And then there was another piece in the consent agenda, which is funding for the the hydraulic avenue shared use path or something like that. That's part of the 4-mile loop trail the CHS kids were asking about during the budget session.
Okay.
I made a little map, and in order to save paper, I'll pass it on to Ms. Thomas, and you guys can pass it down the dais. But that's a little segment, like, it's short, like, it's way less than a quarter mile. Maybe it's like 100 yards or something. But it's really important because it connects the shared use path along the bypass to Mickey Drive. And all the people that live up on Mickey Drive connects to the Hillsdale network, and obviously the jobs and stores on 29 North. So thank you for doing that, and let's continue to make progress. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. Is there anyone else in the public like to speak? Any other comments from council?
Okay, so we have to go back in a closed session.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for that?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Get to read these words again. And there's a lot of them. The first one, pursuant to section 2.2-3712 of the Virginia Code, I hereby move the City Council close this open meeting and convene in a closed session as authorized by Virginia Code section 2.2-3711A3 and A6 for 1, discussion and consideration of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose whose discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body, and 2, discussion and consideration of the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where if made public initially, the financial interest of the city would be adversely affected. At the same time, a motion as follows, pursuant to section 2.2-3712 of the Virginia Code, I hereby move that City Council close this open meeting and convene in a closed session as authorized by Virginia Code section 2.2-3711A1 for 1, discussion and consideration of prospective candidates to be interviewed for upcoming and existing vacancies on the Charlottesville Redevelopment and Housing Authority Board, and 2, discussion and consideration of prospective candidates to be interviewed for upcoming and existing vacancies on the Police Civilian Oversight Board, and 3, discussion and consideration of an application of prospective candidates seeking appointment to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, can we vote? Okay, we're in closed session. We'll come back just to close out the meeting. Thank you.
Remy, are you there?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so we had 2 closed sessions that we handled concurrently, and it's the same certification for both. So I move that this council certify by a recorded vote that to the best of each council member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please vote. Okay, the motion passes. There being no further business, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.